month. It's celebrating its 60th birthday.
Yeah, Gary Lineker, the host, has become a familiar face for households every Saturday night. He's also celebrating his own milestone. He'll have been presenting the show for 25 years. John Watson caught up with him.
Gary, with Match of the Day turning 60, we've got some clips to show you.
Oh, right, okay.
All right.
Turning on a regular basis after a gap of 4 seasons, and we'll be doing our best to be sharp.
Oof.
And tight at the back.
Your first appearance as a pundit.
I know. I didn't do punditry for very long because I wanted Des's job.
Yeah, and, just because they've lost the first game, I'm not going to change my mind.
So yeah, I went in, did a bit of punditry, but I was already doing a bit of presenting on radio and stuff like that.
I suppose we've got to show you as well.
Yeah.
The first time you presented on the programme.
We start though with Division 1 champion Sunderland, who visited.
I've certainly changed in appearance. I spotted a grey hair the other day. So yeah, but it was more nerve-wracking then, obviously, because you can't really practice telly.
Yeah.
And I don't really get nervous at all. Didn't as a player, don't as a presenter. But I remember that first show, there were a few butterflies.
25 years you've been presenting the show. You've been involved with it longer than that. That's longer than your playing career. What does the show mean to you?
It's been part of my life. Big part of my life, right from the start. I watched it as a kid. It's the one night my dad let me stay up to watch Match of the Day. Because a lot of the population don't have, Sky or TNT or any other these streaming channels that show football and show the Premier League, I think, we've got around half the population get their Premier League fix from Match of the Day and still do.
Mm.
Hey, tell you what, football's back. Any good? Have I got the job?
For a couple of years, I remember driving home thinking, I'm never ever going to be able to crack this. But in the end, you get used to the environment, you get used to all these things, and then it becomes natural, and then it really depends whether you've got enough likability and more people like you than hate you.
How hard is it to keep the show relevant? Because it's a traditional format in many ways, isn't it, Match of the Day?
Well, I think it's constantly evolved. I remember when I grew up in the early days, started in 1964, obviously, with it being 60 years, there was one game, and then it went to 2.
Each week we'll have 2 main matches from the new Premier League.
I remember we lost the rights for 3 years, obviously, to ITV. When it came back, when we got the rights back, I said, is there any way we could show all the games? And they found a way of doing it, and that, I thought, right, finally won't get people moaning that they're never on Match of the Day, but of course, then it becomes about where they are on Match of the Day and the running order, so we're always last and all this kind of stuff. It's probably the toughest show that you do. I mean, live football's got different things, but when we do live games, you've got much more time, especially on the B, because we have no adverts at half time. At the end of the game, we have plenty of time to chat without any breaks, and you can go off on one, but you can't do that on Match of the Day.
Mm. And how is it when you run into current players? I suppose when you can't hold back with your analysis. Do they ever say anything?
Very, very rarely. Not with players. Managers more so. Managers are touchy. Footballers get it. And they understand it. They know when they've made a mistake. They know when they've not played well. At the end of the Euros, there's always talk in the Euros because the papers wind things up a little bit against us sometimes as well, try and cause a divide. And I remember walking down at the end of the game, at the final, and the way we had to get out was via the tunnel, and we bumped into 3 or 4 of the players after the game, and they were coming over. Oh, we didn't really, I know this, and they just no. I've never experienced from a player any grief, except I think Vinnie Jones had a pop one day. But it was just Vinnie being Vinnie, and it was fun.
Your most famous moment, though?
Here we go again, new season, new titles, new managers, new signings, but apart from that, nothing much has really changed.
The season after Leicester City won the Premier League, how you ended up presenting the show?
Well, I did a tweet, didn't I, that in about November or December saying if Leicester win the league, then I'll do the first show next season in my undies. And obviously when I did that tweet, I knew there was categorically 0 chance that Leicester would win the league.
Never, ever, ever, ever in my lifetime did I believe it was even remotely possible that Leicester would win any kind of league, let alone the Premier League. Get in.
But of course they did, and I kind of had had to do it. It was the most surreal thing I've ever done on television.
We've gone with two up front in the studio.
I could see Wrighty and Shearer's shoulders just going behind me.
How long do you see yourself continuing on Match of the Day?
I don't know. Depends how long they want me, I suppose. But I mean, I love doing it at the moment. I've still got another year left, at least. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. Obviously, it's an ever-changing feast, football and television and football and rights of the Premier League and stuff like that. So all of these things will play a part. But I just feel it's been an absolute privilege to have presented it for 25 years now. I must be getting old.
When Ian Wright joined the show, he looked in absolute awe. Do you still get that impression when new guests, new pundits come on the show for the first time?
Oh yeah, Joe Hart did it. He had his debut at the weekend on the first Match of the Day of this season, and you could see that it was a moment for him, and it is, because it's something that it's not just a TV show. It's the TV show we watched when we were kids.
Why is it, do you think, that people are still tuning in every night to watch the show?
I think part of it is that it's trusted. It's the longevity of the show, the love for the show. I think people enjoy seeing it that way. They like to see the highlights. They like to get their Premier League fix from us, and hopefully that will continue.
Could we see another Leicester moment? Could you be presenting Match of the Day in your pants at the start of
that
next
will not
season?
happen again. That will not happen again. I'm about 8 years older now. I don't think we can see a Leicester moment again. I think that was an absolute one-off. I still cannot fathom how it happened. It was so beautiful. I think that was not only the best moment I've had in television, but I would say it's the best moment I've enjoyed in football in my life. And I had nothing to do with it whatsoever, but it was absolutely magical.
Brilliant. Gary, thanks very much.
Cheers.
Great, thank you. Thank you.